In the second part of the video, we will take a look at some additional practice problems on multiplying fractions, and this time we will use examples that you might encounter in your chemistry classes. Here we have a conversion problem. Basically, we have 200.0 meters and we want to know how many miles that is. And the given information is that 1 kilometer equals 10 to the third meters, 10 to the 3 meters, and 1 mile equals 1.609 kilometers. Okay, so you may have already viewed the video on dimensional analysis. And if not, if you haven't studied that material yet, just wait until we set up the problem and then you can still benefit from this as a multiplication of fractions type of problem. But here we are also going to review that topic. So we're beginning with, we have 200.0 meters, and we want to end up with something in terms of miles. Okay, so first, to get rid of the meters, your conversion factor will be, okay, so here we have 10 to the 3 meters equals 10 to the 3 meters equals 1 kilometer. Basically, if I take the ratio of those two quantities, it's as if I'm multiplying the entire thing by 1, so it doesn't change the value of this. And why did I choose to write 10 to the 3 meters in the denominator? Because I want the meters to cancel with this. In the next step, I'm going to need to have the kilometers cancel. Ultimately, I want to end up with the mile units. Okay, so you think about this right now. Since we know 1 mile equals 1.609 kilometers, how would you write your conversion factor here? Remembering that we want to end up with miles as our units. So clearly the miles should be in the numerator, right? So we have 1 miles. We're going to put that in the numerator. And that's equivalent to 1.609 kilometers. Now, because everything is multiplied here, again, I can assume that, oops, excuse me 1 second. I can assume that there is a 1 there's a 1 under the 200.0 meters, so I'll just put a 1 there. And as with multiplication of fractions, you can multiply all the tops, multiply all the bottoms, and then take the ratio at the end. That's one way to simplify this expression. And I don't see any simple cancellations like we had in our earlier problems, so that's what we're going to do. But let's first take a look at the units. The meters are going to cancel. Remember, anything from the top can cancel with anything from the bottom when you're multiplying fractions. The kilometers will cancel. So that leaves us with the unit of miles, and that's exactly what we want. So that tells us we've set the problem correctly. Now let's forget about the units and just look at the multiplication problem at hand. Again, multiplying 3 fractions, I'm just going to write them as a single fraction where you multiply all the values on the top. So you have 200.0 multiplied by 1, multiplied by 1. Of course, that will give us the same thing, multiplication by 1. And in the denominator, we have 1 times 10 to the third times 1.609. Okay. So I can drop the ones, and simply I have 200.0 divided by 10 to the third multiplied by 1.609. So we just need to enter this into the calculator to get an answer for our problem, and the answer will be, the units will be miles, as we've looked at previously. And if you've watched the lesson on significant figures, you will know that for this question we need to leave 4 significant figures, and that's because of this value over here. And when you have just constants, like the constants given in the problem, like conversion values from kilometers to meters or miles to kilometers, things like that, those will never reduce your number of significant figures for all practical purposes, you can ignore those. You can assume they have perfect measurement, that some books will call it infinite significant figures. So you don't have to worry about those. The only limiting factors will be your measured quantities, like in this case 200.0 meter that was given. So that has 4 significant figures. And again, there was a video on that. If you forgot, please review that video. And so once we get an answer on the calculator, make sure to round your answers to 4 significant figures. So I'd like to give you a moment to do that, and then let's come back and discuss the problem. So I have entered this value into the calculator. I just typed online calculator, and again, many of you have different types of calculators, but the thing to remember with this question is that when you're dividing by more than one quantity, your fraction has 2 values in the denominator, 10 to the third times 1.609, so make sure to enter that within parentheses. And if I had more than one value in the numerator, I would have also entered that product in parentheses. So in this case, let's just press enter or equal sign to get our answer. We're getting 0.12430 and so forth. And we wanted to get use 4 significant figures. So we're going to record our answer as 0.1243. And we know that the units will be in miles. Okay, one more example that uses conversion factors. This time we want to go from 1.25 meters into feet. And the given information is that 1 meter equals 100 centimeters, 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters, 1 foot equals 12 inches. So from this information, we want to convert 1.25 meters into feet. So once again, let's write our conversion factors. We want to end up with feet. I put that on the right-hand side. Okay, so we want to get rid of the meters. So when we come here and look at this conversion, so we want to write it in the form the meters should be in the numerator or denominator. If you said denominator, you were correct. So we should put the meters in the denominator and 100 centimeters in the numerator. Okay, now next we're going to need to get rid of the centimeters. So we come here. So where will you put the 2.54 centimeters? In the numerator or the denominator? So this time to cancel with that one in the numerator, you want to put the 2.54 centimeters in the denominator, right? So, and then 1 inch in the numerator is equivalent. Again, multiplying it by that is like multiplying it by 1 because this is equivalent to that. So you're not changing the value, you're converting the units basically. Okay, and finally, so far here's what we have. The centimeters can be canceled. The meters can be canceled, but we're left with inches. Since our ultimate goal is to go to feet, let's use this conversion. 1 foot equals 12 inches. So where will you put the 1 foot and where will you put the 12 inches? Since we want to cancel with the inches, put the 12 inches on the bottom, right? So let's do that, 12 inches at the bottom and 1 foot at the top. So now the inches also cancel. And we're left with our goal, which is feet. And all you have to do is now multiply all the numbers in the top and all the numbers at the bottom. And I've already written that out, so I'll share that with you. And you can assume there's a 1 in the denominator under the 1.25. So all of the numbers on the top are multiplied, all the ones on the bottom are multiplied. And of course here, multiplication by 100, you could simply move the decimal 2 units to the right if you choose to. But let's also see how to enter this into the calculator. So let's see how we can enter this in the calculator. Remember, I'm going to put the numerator in parentheses, the denominator in parentheses, because there's more than one quantity to be entered. So this is how I have done that. 1.25 times 100 in a set of parentheses, division by, open another parentheses, 2.54 times 12, all the values in the denominator. And now we can press equals. And we're getting 4.1010. Now let's go back and see how many decimals that we wanted to take for this, the number of significant figures that is. Let's take a look. Once again, the only thing you have to worry about is the given measured value. The given constants, the conversion values, will never reduce the number of significant figures. We're just limited by our measurement, which is 1.25. That has 3 significant figures. So our answer will be, that's before we enter to the calculator, if you multiply by 100. And if you enter to the calculator, you get something like this. We want 3 significant figures, so we're only going to use these 3 digits, 4.10 feet.